Hello, Big Reds. This is Mr. Fishel talking again. Today, if you notice that we're moving on to a combination of Learning Target 7 and Learning Target 8. And today, we're focusing on Unit 3, Learning Target 8, video number 1. That deals with similar triangles. So where am I going with similar triangles? Well, for triangles to be similar, that's different than congruent. When you have congruent triangles mean that the sides are congruent and the angles are congruent. Whereas when you have similar triangles, the angles are congruent and the sides are proportional. Okay, so that's different. So that's why we're going to work on solving proportions. Some of you have done these before, some of you have not. So I'm going to do some of these with you, and your formative assessment today will be to complete the rest, because I want to see how you're doing with these problems. Okay. So if we're looking at problem number 1, solving a proportion, I have one variable. There's two ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way, and I'll show you a different way for number 2. You can always solve proportions by cross multiplying. So you take 6 times p, which is 6p. It's going to be equal to 4 times 2, which is 8. I'm going to refresh what I just did. 6 times p, which is 6p, is equal to 4 times 2, which is 8. Now to solve for p, I have to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. I have to divide both sides by 6. I'm going to put it in simplest form. So p is going to be equal to 8/6 when you divide it. 8 divided by 6, that's going to be, on your calculator, 4/3. And you could write it as a decimal too, but I'll keep it as a fraction. So that's one way to solve proportions. All right, we'll use this a lot for bigger problems, but if we look at number 2, 2 is just like this. I'm going to show you a different way. Now, the shortcut would be to multiply the two numbers on the cross that do not have a variable. So 4 times 2. And you divide it by this number, which is 8. So you could take 4 times 2, which is 8. 8 divided by 8, which is 1. So k is equal to 1. Seems much easier again, right? Let's zoom out just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. I'll show you both methods one more time, and you can use either one for several of these problems. 8 times 4 is equal to n times 7. Doing it this way, I'd have 7n is equal to 8 times 4, which is 32. Divide both sides by 7. Get n is equal to 32/7. Or you could do the shortcut. 5 times 4 divided by 3. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 divided by 3. So x equals 20/3. Okay, I'm going to go down to number 8. 8's a little different. I'm going to cross multiply this. 6 times 5n is 30n. 2 times 5 is 10. So you have 30 times n equals 10. Divide by 30. N equals 10/30, which is the same as 1/3. Okay, I'll try one of these too. Why not? Let's do number 9. Number 9, the only difference about number 9 is there are decimals, and they said round to the nearest hundredth. So I cross multiply and divide. My calculator, take 2.3 times 3.6 divided by 7.7. So b is approximately equal to 1, it says 1.075. 5 makes that round up. So it becomes 1.08. All right. Now flip your paper over to the back side. If you look at number 13, 13 is very different from the other problems. 13, I would not use the shortcut method on. I would just cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I'm multiplying 8 times k plus 6. That's very important. I put parentheses around the k plus 6. Equals 9 times 6, which is 54. So just to recap, take 8 times k plus 6, put the k plus 6 in parentheses, 9 times 6, which is 54. Now you solve it like a normal algebra problem. I distribute that 8, both of these. 8 times k is 8k. 8 times 6 is 48. Then I would subtract 48 from both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other. This cancels out. I'm left with 8k is equal to 54 minus 48, which is 6. Divided by 8. And reduce it. K is equal to 3/4. Or as a decimal, that'd be 0.75. Let's try one more of those. Remember, pause this any time. If you need help, go back over, rewind, whatever you need to do to learn this. So, cross multiply here. We have 2 times parentheses a minus 3 is equal to 10 times 4, which is 40. Remember, always remember, keep the parentheses around this a minus 3. Distribute the 2. So I'm left with 2 times a minus 2 times 3, which is 6, equals 40. Add 6 to each side. You got 2a is equal to 46. Divide by 2. A is equal to 23. Okay, I'm going to go a little farther down. Let's look at something like number 17. 17, I'm going to cross multiply. When I do this, I get 8 times m plus 7 is equal to 9 times m. Okay, distribute the 8 again. 8 times m is 8m. 8 times 7 is 56. And what I would do is I want to get all the m's on one side. I'd subtract 8m from each side. I'm left with 56 is equal to 1m, or just m. That's our answer. All right, I want to try another problem. Let's go down to 21. Cross multiply here, and I have 4 times n minus 9 is equal to 7 times n plus 5. Okay? Distribute the 4. I have 4n minus 4 times 9, which is 36. And I have 7n plus 7 times 5, which is 35. Now notice in this problem, it's very different. I have n's and constants on either side. So I'm going to move the n's to the side as the largest number of n's. That just keeps my n value positive. You could do this more than one way correctly if you'd like. So I'm going to subtract 4n from each side. When I do that, the 4 n's cancel out here, and I'm left with just a negative 36 equals 7n minus 4n is 3n plus 35. Okay, next, I want to move this number over to this side. So I can do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 35 from each side. When I do this, the 35's cancel out. I'm left with 3n is equal to a negative 71. And finally, divide by 3 on both sides. And I'm left with n is equal to, I don't think that's going to divide evenly. Nope. So I just keep it as negative 71 over 3. That's what you got when you solve for n. Okay, I believe I've done one of each of the types of problems on here. So here is your formative assessment. Formative assessment for today is to finish this sheet and show all work. If you're one of those people that has to write their work on a different sheet of paper, make sure you attach that work. And you're going to have to turn that into Mr. Fischel. Tomorrow we're going to be done. We're not going to be using Chromebooks. So, all right. And right now it looks like our test will be next week, Tuesday. That's the plan as of today. So, thanks for listening, and go Big Reds.